That was the very first one of our series. We held that a couple of months ago. We are now doing our first one here at the Waianae Coast, and then we'll be doing one for the district in Ella Beach, and then we'll plan to repeat these again. So this is not just, you know, here we are and hello, goodbye. We plan to try to do these on a regular basis and invite you to invite others to these as we have them. But this is the way that we really would like to have and be able to stay connected with the community and with the legislators. So with that, what I'd like to go ahead this evening then is introduce our first speaker. Thank you very much for being here to talk on some wonderful legislative issues from our state senate, and then also to provide us anything that she would like to talk to you about transportation and any of the other issues that she might like to discuss. So I would like to very much warmly welcome Senator Waianae.
So wonderful to see a full house tonight. Really appreciate you all taking the time, and Councilmember Pine's office for organizing all this. All I had to do was show up, so thank you so much for making it so easy for me. I want to start with this insert in my handout. Hopefully, if you don't have it, there's more in the back. It's the one with the picture of me with the police officers. And I'm highlighting sort of the three big transportation projects that are going on the Waianae Coast. Start with project one. This is the widening, also known as the turn lane project that's happening right now as we speak. And so what this project is doing is making left turn lanes in the townbound direction at Waianae and Nanakuli Avenue. And you've probably seen the signs. Luckily, DOT has resumed work, and they're doing work at night, 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. They have one of those lit up signs across from Sac and Save that kind of gives you the dates, the times when they're doing it. And they're trying to get this done by 2017. And they want to make these lanes quite long. You know, my understanding is the one at Nanakuli Avenue, I believe it's going to go past Nanakuli Avenue to kind of help people that are trying to turn left into the beach park. So it's kind of going to go a little past Nanakuli Avenue. And then both lanes are for multiple cars. I want to say one was for like 13 cars and one was for 15 cars. So they're going to be long turn lanes. And so that's quite exciting. The next one is, oh yeah, and then actually I want to add, the last sentence of this project one says, the latest news in this project, they're attempting to extend the turn lane construction all the way to Kimo Road. Now if that happens, that's going to take 7 years. And what this is one of the projects that's in the UNCO long-range plan that talks about widening the highway from Kimo Road to Kalailua to help alleviate the bottleneck that we deal with every morning. And it's, the good news is that they're trying to move this up, because right now that project sits in the second tier of projects. So we're looking at, you know, about another 20 years that might happen. Hopefully, you know, DOT is able to do this. It's a little uncertain now. You know, they had that bill to increase our gas tax, which I know a lot of you and many of you understandably were against. That bill died in the House just last week. And so DOT is concerned that they may not have enough state funds to match the federal funds needed for this project, but we'll see. It's definitely something that, you know, I'm sure they'll talk about more on April 5th, but we'll cross our fingers that that might be something that they can do. If not, they're definitely going for at least the turn lanes at Nanakuli and Waianae Avenue for now. Project 2 is the contraflow lane. Very exciting. Now this project, DOT is they're basically doing it as an add-on to the turn lane project. So it's going to be, they're hoping to start by the end of the summer, just in time for when school starts next year. And they're going to have it run during the same time as the turn lane. So it's going to go until about 2017 is the plan. They're going to change an eastbound, and it's just going to be in the afternoon from about 3:30 to 7. They want to change an eastbound lane to the westbound direction, so there'll be 3 lanes going from Pili'okahi to Helilua. It's about a mile-long stretch. What they're going to do is kind of interesting. And so, for those 3 lanes, obviously called the Community Wife. Now, if you're trying to make a left turn, you say you're coming from Akaha, and during that time, on a weekday, you're trying to turn left, anywhere between that mile stretch, they're going to direct you, there's going to be more HED presence to you. They're going to direct you to keep going straight, which means no left turns, until you get to just the road, just past, like if you're going to go to like the Sunland parking lot. You know, the one right before like Waianae's homestead. I forget the name of that road. I mean, it's not Pilokaki, it's the one before that. You're gonna turn that road and you're gonna go on the emergency, the bridge to nowhere, to the parking lot on each part. And then they're gonna have you go up Nanakuli Avenue. And then if you're going past Nanakuli Avenue, they're gonna have police directed to Mono Avenue. And then from Mono, you can go to different fingers where you can come on, Halakala or the other ones to turn, to make your turns on back on the Farrington Highway. So very interesting, and I know a lot of the people in the Waianae area were concerned, but they're not planning to have cars go past them, further east than that. So you're just going to make that turn. So if you're going to the Sunland parking lot, then go into the lower bridge, go to Nanakuli Beach parking lot up the avenue. So yeah, so this bridge get used, and so hopefully it's going through. It's going to cost about $300,000 a year, with 80% being funded by the feds. So mahalo to DOT for trying to do this for us. It's really, really appreciated. Something we've been asking for years now. So that's the contraflow. So hopefully that'll go through. Again, without that tax bill they wanted, I was kind of in limbo, but that'll be something hopefully Ed Smith can update us on April 5th at the Senate's meeting, the Waianae. Now, Project 3 is something I'm working on with Councilwoman Pine. This is our emergency access road. Now, after the water main break, all of us elected officials got, so many calls of people complaining that the emergency access road, and I know it's inadequate, it's not open when we need it, it ends too soon. I myself was on that road and I was trying to get to the North Shore that day for a family party, and I was so disheartened when it came out of Elilua Street. And the water main break was past, it was past there with us by the beach park. And so I had to go back onto the traffic. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get funds. So I have a funding request in, and I believe Kim also has a funding request in, to get capital improvement money to extend the emergency access road past Elilua Street further towards Honolulu. Now this is a challenge because we're talking about going through the homestead area. Many of which have hills, they have ravines, and so the good news is that I've been talking with DHHL, and what they shared with me, because this fund's actually going to go to DHHL, because it's their animal, is that they are looking at potentially the need for roads in these areas, more roads, because they're building out Kapolei right now with homesteads. And they said in about 10 years, they're going to max out in the Kapolei area. And the only other land they have on the law to build homes is Nanakuli Ranch. So they're looking at that as the potential next area after Kapolei as putting homesteads. And so they said it could be actually beneficial to them if there was a road that, especially like going from Series 7 into Nanakuli Ranch, and then further beyond. And the last time I spoke to William Waianae about this, he said, what it might look like potentially is something like an elevated, possibly road maybe along the cliff or something and it goes from behind Series 7 to the ranch, into the homesteads with fingers coming down some of the main arteries as a potential. And the good thing about that is that if that's what happens, at least it'll be a road that can be used all the time. Because the big problem with the emergency access road is that a lot of times it's locked, right, when you need it. And that's another thing we're looking at, is the potential of trying to possibly condemn other portions of the emergency access road. One that I know Kim might talk about while she gets up here is the Pa'akea. The part was locked. Councilman Pohl had also tried this as well when he was a councilman, to see if we could get city funds to condemn at least that Pa'akea locked portion, so that it become a public road and it can be something that's open for use more often when there are these traffic emergencies. And so that's a possibility that we're also looking at. And so some key meeting dates I have at the bottom of this handout, like I said, April 5th, 7 o'clock at District Waianae Park. We're going to have both DOT and City there, DEM. And I think maybe some others, but they'll be talking about both the emergency access road and all the DOT highway projects going on. So that'll be a very good meeting. April 19th, Nanakuli Neighborhood Board, City will be there as well, to talk about emergency access road. And then April 11th this is the Upland Hall Nanakuli Homestead meeting, where the focus is the emergency access road. And that's a public meeting as well. So those are kind of the highlights on transportation. Well, one more thing, I'm going down to my bill list on the second page of my handout. The last bill on there is something you probably heard about on the news. And this bill is still alive, SB 2618, which is talking about a study for inter-island ferry service. So interesting, I know some of you like the ferry, I know some of you may be against, but this is just talking about a feasibility study for DOT to do to see whether they can bring back the ferry. You know, so it's an interesting one. Under housing, a bill I introduced is SB 2343, a request of actually a Waianae landlord, talking about legal non-conforming units and making them eligible for especially the county Section 8 program. And then the last one, the housing section, is one of my standards too. This is the program, HB 2647, 3-year work for a day pilot program for homeless individuals to give them work opportunities with the city. And then the last bill, I'll wrap up for questions. Under water and land, under page 3, that the first one in water and land, SB 2163, this was also inspired by a Waianae case. This says that if you have a water pollution or solid waste pollution violation, and if the authorities are trying to serve the violator and having a hard time, and they, then they can serve either by posting on the property or on the internet, online. And this is a problem that we've seen going on right now. In Waianae, we have a DOH has cited the property owner for a water pollution violation in the Clean Water Act, and the person keeps dodging service. And so this is a way that we can now finally serve that person. Otherwise, they got to dismiss the violation. And in the interest of time, I'll stop now because I know that I want to leave time for Q&A if you have any, or comments that you might have. So, is there any questions? Yes?
Yeah, you were talking about the contra flow being operative between 3:30 to 7.
Yes.
How do you address the buses eastbound that have to pick up pedestrians along the way?
Buses, my understanding is that buses will still be operational in both directions.
Because that'll cause a backlog too, with one.
Yeah. Well, so for those that are, leaving Waianae during that time, yeah, there'll definitely be more of a backlog because there's only going to be one lane leaving Waianae during that time. So, definitely that's why there's going to be give and take. And so definitely during those hours, if you are leaving Waianae from 3 to 3:30 to 7, give yourself some extra time, knowing that it's not going to be the usual 2 lanes. So, but my understanding, buses will still be running. It'll just be, slower if it goes behind them.
One last question.
Yes.
With the railroad, you have jurisdiction to take over that land because in the past, federal government held control over that, which was signed over to the People Preservation Society. Mm-hmm. So has those areas been cleared so that you can move the railroad?
Well, that is a huge challenge because, technically, it's still under the Historic Railway Society and the Federal Register, and that's what took this turn lane project so long to get off the ground. I got the $2 million for that project like about 8 years ago, but the huge holdup was getting the railroad areas to be moved because you'll notice that those 2 intersections that I talked about, Nanakuli and Waiakawa, DOT has had to move the railroad and make it out, but that took a lot of effort to happen. And I think what they're required to do is if they're going to touch that railroad, they have to build it again. So they have to rebuild it now further Mackay of the highway. And so if they're going to try to widen the highway further towards Hakima Road, they'll come across the same issue. But it is possible. It just takes a long. That's why they're saying 7 years, because that's one of the hugest hurdles to widening our highways, that railroad. Other questions? Gee, you're being so kind. Yes.
You said 3:30 they're going to start the conference. Why not earlier? Because as you enter into Nanakuli, the traffic already backs up at the property.
Yeah, it might be 3 to 7. It's either might be 3 to 7. I don't know if it's 3 or 3:30. I think that's kind of why they're coming out to the community too, to get your feedback as to whether there should be any further adjustments. But I agree. The traffic starts like at 2. It's pretty bad. So yeah, it's definitely something that Yes.
Yes, my name is Maxine. A question.
Yes.
And in regards of the railroad, the existing railroad that you have would it be possible that we could connect it to Kapolei?
Oh.
And then we can catch that little mini and then go to.
Actually utilize it for something.
That's an interesting concept. You know, it's a possibility. Well, I don't know, 'cause right now it does go to Coalina.
Yes.
And actually, it actually does go to Kapolei.
Yes.
It already does. That's true, because I went on it one time with my family. And it went from Eva Beach, went all the way behind Costco and everything, and then it comes
Turn
out.
around at Kahi.
Yeah. But that's true, you're right, it already does go to Kapolei, but, interesting, I wonder if we could talk to them, that would increase their ridership too. Talk to the Railway Society about whether people could use it for commuting, because I think the hours it runs are sort of, aren't really during rush hour. But,
I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
it's something in the future for them.
yeah,
They can play with that.
that's a really, really good suggestion to talk about whether that could be used for daily commute as well, because it already goes through that area. Very good suggestion.
I have
Yes.
a question. My husband is not here, but he asked to ask this question. Is it possible to have a viaduct from Waianae by Kahi Point, go around to Ku'olina and connect to the H1, a viaduct? Is it possible for the west side to have sort of like this, like they have it elsewhere, so we can connect above, and all the traffic from the bottom is going to be busy, dropping off kids, starting a business in Waianae and Nanakuli. And when to Ku'olina, if you're on the viaduct, you can just go straight into the H1, and then we can just go flowing really fast.
So like a double decker, we've got a double decker highway.
Limits, you know,
So-
when the airport, for the airport.
Well, I mean,
Something
that's,
like
yeah.
that. You don't need a rocket science to figure that out, but he wanted to be here, but he's taking care of our dogs.
Oh,
Just for FYI, plug that in, because I just want people to know when they talk about viaduct.
yeah, well, the good ride, you know, and that's actually what William Waianae was saying, you know, that it would be, I guess it would be like a viaduct, it would be an elevated roadway.
Yes.
That would, you know, go from Series 7, you know, to the ranch, but yeah, if it could start at Series, you know, and then maybe further, go further eastward as well.
Right.
Because that's what people have been asking for forever, right? Because that's have a second way in and out of Waianae.
It'll be you won't be in that best from Maka'a to Kahi Point, and still, it takes 2 hours, it takes an hour just to get to Kapolei sometimes, from Maka'a.
I know.
And coming home, it takes 2 hours.
Yes.
Depends where you're at and what time of the day, but we have to cut our days short just to get back to Waianae.
Oh, I know, so, but definitely that is something that, I mean, a lot of people are asking for, you know, it's a tough call, and it's not gonna be easy, but if we can get at least it started by Series 7, then at least it kind of starts it. And maybe you can get it a bit further east, you know, as time goes on. So, thank you for that.
Thank you, Mike.
Other questions? Oh, yes.
Regarding Nanakuli Ranch at Series 7,
Yes.
has DHL done the environmental studies yet? If so, when was the last one?
You know, good question. I can check with William on that because, you know, apparently they believe that it's viable for housing because he specifically said that is the place they're looking.
They would have to do a lot of digging and bridges,
Yes.
because if they cannot cut off the street there.
Yes.
So that street bed overflows, that whole area is flooded.
I know. So I don't know. I guess they definitely would have to do some remediation work in that area because that's what I've heard from the Ramosas too that were there. That there's two. You know, one there's a huge stream that runs through, and then one by St. Rita's too. There's two
There
streams.
is a
So
road that goes through Street 7,
yeah.
but it goes to somebody's home.
Yeah, so that's the one we're kind of looking at too. If we don't have the elevated roadway in the back, there is that vacant lot at Series 7 and Kaiolana Street where there's drainage tunnels under. There's a vacant lot, and that could be Summer Road, but you know that's a possibility too. But I know it's a tough one because the roads in Series 7 are very congested with cars and people and kids and
The street itself is not good to handle that kind of traffic.
I know. Dan, you
Yeah. Wouldn't it seem reasonable to declare a moratorium on further house building and subdivisions here and build the infrastructures in place to support traffic?
No, yeah, actually what you're saying, the Conley Neighborhood Board actually passed a resolution asking for that same thing in their area because the traffic there is so horrendous as well. I mean, that's something we could consider trying to push, but hard to because there's so many people on the wait list for Hawaiian homelands and, you know, that have been waiting and waiting for so long. So DHL really wants to try to address as many as they can that are on that wait list and have them close to home too, because many are from this coast. But yeah, so well, that's why hopefully if we at least plan well with the infrastructure, you know, so with the homes would come the roads to help alleviate the congestion on the highway, the bottleneck areas. But definitely that's something to consider, that others have mentioned the same. I think there were questions, yeah, the back here.
Getting back to the constable lane, I'm just trying to picture your constable 3 lanes coming in. What
Yes.
happens when you have to merge that into 2 lanes?
Yeah, and that's going to be the tough part, is because it's going to end at Heliola, you know, which is like kind of earlier. That's one thing I wish we could go further, you know, down to Nanakuli, but that's true because we're going to have to merge back into 2 lanes after Heliola. So these are the kind of things definitely to bring to DOT's attention. And then in my mind, we should have it go all the way to like Ion Homestead Road or even further, you know. So it does seem like that's going to be a concern. I think there was another hand up. The back on. Okay. Oh, yes.
Has there been a study on the number of vehicles actually coming out of Waianae and this?
Yes, I think I did see a study. I saw something about 50,000 cars. Yeah, I saw something about 50,000 that are coming out of Waianae coast. You know, like so. It's a tremendous impact on our tiny bottleneck highway. You know, it doesn't have a lot of shoulders for the buses, it doesn't have turn lanes. So that's why the widening, I think, will make a huge difference.
Yeah, just a quick question. You're talking about the stretch between that areas. I understand the current infrastructure, the traffic lights, they're so obsolete that it's almost impossible to electronically control them from afar. So will that be looked into to have
Yes,
dials up
I
there?
forgot to mention that. Very, very exciting. That as part of the upgrade of those 2 intersections of Nanakuli and Haleakala Avenue, DOT's intent is to also install cables so that they can remotely control those lights, at least in those 2 intersections. So very exciting. And then they're going to have enhanced HPD presence and blinking lights and everything during the contractual hours to hopefully help to flow the traffic. But I know the lights are a huge problem. As well, so hopefully that'll help things. Cut me off when I'm getting close. I think it's almost time, so Kathy, if I'm getting close. Okay, John.
Can you, I know it was explained by some of the other meetings, but maybe for this group, and maybe because it's being filmed, everybody talk about alternative routes such as Kuli.
Yes.
Can you make mention about how and why, it's not happening? We understand why we're following with the military, et cetera, but it's the federal government's hand, but can you just explain, please?
Yes, well, I'm glad that Victor Flynn is here from the representative U.S. Navy. Now, my understanding, and Victor, correct me if I'm wrong, is that what's happened is that over the years, because the Navy no longer has as much of a mission in that area, much of a reason to maintain it, and they've got dwindling budget and resources, that the Koli Pass unfortunately has not been maintained to the safety standard that the military would want it to be, to allow how in the old days they would let people with military passes on it. I used to go on it when I was in intermediate school. And so that's why they closed it down, and only military uses it, really, at this point. They've had a lot of areas of collapse, and there are parts of Koli where there's literally only 1 lane. So you can only have 1 car going one direction on certain parts of that road, from what I've heard. And so, and there's no, I don't foresee any federal funds or state funds or anything coming to bring it up to the level it would need to be used like it used to be in the past. And so based on that, at least what we know now is that there's no definite plans to open it up how it was before, but there is an MOA being worked on that Victor has been working on to at least allow emergency use. so that in the event that there's a declared emergency, that rescue vehicles could go on it and possibly shuttles of, they wouldn't allow private vehicles, but shuttles of residents could go onto the Holy Pass. So if that MOA gets signed, then of course we'll see if it can be released to the public, or at least the details be released to the public. But, you know, of course there are efforts being made, and with Tulsi Gabbard's office and others, to try to see if there's any way to get the federal money necessary to upgrade Kolikoli, because that would be a wonderful thing to have that as a second access and on our coast. So the hope remains, but there's not any definite plans or guarantee at this point, other than that limited emergency use. Yes, of course.
Marlene, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know the bill number, but I recollect reading about the Department of Transportation, particularly pertaining to the rail and properties alongside of it. And so there is a bill going through the legislature that was proposing to exempt the DOT from certain studies, from certain requirements similar to ACDA, but more like the authority that PODC was trying to seek. Are you familiar with that bill and its status?
Yes, that bill is, I think I know if I'm still alive, and it's the one that would establish a transit authority that would be in charge of TOD, you also hear about TOD, which is transit-oriented development. And similar to, I guess, like what HCDA does, they would be, you know, instead of having to go through like, I guess like, you know, permitting, city, state, they would go through them to, if you want to do transit-oriented development, you know, and so some people like that because there, you know, there's affordable housing. There already is, there's a project being planned actually right now near the Croc Center that is using that TOD, those housing credits, is to encourage more affordable housing along those rail stops. But of course, others are concerned about the potential implications on, you know, environmental impact. But that bill, I can't get you the bill, I don't have it on me, but that bill is still alive, and it would establish an authority. It would be a transit TOD authority separate from all the others.
So would that incorporate HARP? I mean, because you know, when we talk about transit, right? So transit, I mean, like for HARP, that we foolishly established an entity with all the finances that they have for one particular type of transportation mode when we have multiple transportations. So now that there's a consideration for this TOD entity, would that encompass HARP so that we have a true transit authority?
Good question. You know, I'll find out whether, I would imagine they're probably going to still remain separate, but of course HARP, I'm sure, will be a member of that TOD and be heavily involved. Because the TOD is not just the rail, you know, it's like I said, all the housing, there's going to be businesses near the rail stop, anything that's associated with rail, not just rail, besides just rail, is going to go through that TOD, the TOD authority. And so I would imagine they're probably still going to be separate entities, but obviously working closely together. But I'll confirm that and let you know if, I'll be at the neighborhood board meeting on April 5th, and I can update you then at the time.
I know he's been talking a lot about transportation, but I see that you have some bills under education, and two in particular that I was interested in, which is the air conditioning of our schools, which is a big issue, and then also the teacher retention rate out here on the Waianae coast is very high, it's being low. So what are those bills and how do you think they're going to positively impact our community?
Yeah, these are exciting bills. The first two under education listing. And these bills, the House version was looking at, actually they're both looking at green, using solar energy and other types of energies to cool our schools off, which is very exciting. And they're looking at using these special kinds of tax credits. It's like a green, kind of green tax credit, which would be a great way to fund it. And they're still alive, still moving, and there's a lot of high hopes, you know, that these bills will make it. The governor has made this an emergency, like almost like an emergency kind of situation, and it's mentioned in the bill that it's reached that kind of proportion, as we saw the heat wave we had over this past year. And so, luckily, because there was so much media attention on how hot the kids were, that's why these bills are here. And so, hopefully they'll make it, and hopefully will. If you haven't seen it, at Waianae High School, they actually have a portable it's solar air conditioning by Green Path Technologies. It's awesome. So, it can be done off the grid. The second bill is talking about hard-to-fill schools and creating incentives, and this incentive would say that if you commit to 3 years teaching in hard-to-fill schools, such as on the Waianae coast, you would be able to get your teacher license in a time. So it really helps that licensure process that the teachers have to go through. And so I really am glad to see that this bill is also still alive because it will definitely have a positive impact on our schools. Yes, Mark.
Just going back to the over there.
Yes.
So, to my understanding, not even military personnel use that road?
Oh, I think military is using it. Right, Victor, yeah, military is using close code.
There's some up to you.
Okay, there are some that are, is it a yes?
We used it the other day.
Okay, yes, so the military. Yeah, military is still using fully code, but not, they're not allowing the general public for those with capacity. Oh, civilian, here, Victor.
You guys can hear me. As I've brought up many times, we can use the road right now for emergency purposes. For example, the North Cooley Fire. Fed Fire had numerous fire trucks plus a command unit assist Honolulu at that fire that protected our homes up the homes. Some of the trucks came down before they come home. They have to dump the water because of the weight of the truck, and then they'll fill up again when they reach the water. They need to be escorted by police because there was rocks and branches and stuff on the road. But that was explained from day one. If Councilmember Klein, Senator Shima Bukuro, Sidrick, we need to get you up there, blah, blah, blah. If in a declared emergency, we'll make things happen. We'll worry about the Pala later. This isn't for us to use the road to sightsee or to get to Costco because the traffic is bad. This is a declared emergency by our government. And that's set up now. Along with that, we're working on the MOA, the Memorandum of Agreement, with the state, with the city, with the Army, with the Navy. The Navy signed off on that guy already. It's now with the state. So we're doing the best we can to move things along. That's all I have to say about that. If I talk later, I'll be on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We might have another question. You know, under the grant aid applicants?
Yes.
Is that still in the process of making regarding the Waianae housing facility and stuff and money?
Yes, yes, so granting aids, they're all decided at the very end. So Zion, Puka, and all these others, there was a hearing that was held earlier this month where they all got to give 3 minutes to present to the Ways and Means and Finance Committees what they were going to do. And then at the very, very end of the session, the bitter end, is when the grant aids get decided of who's going to get the grant aid. And so if you support any of these, this would be a good time now to lobby for them. You know, so contact especially the money committees, Ways and Means, Finance Committee, and tell them that you really support, whatever grant aid for any of these UCOs. There are others that are out there. I can give you a full list if you want. But it's very important. It's very, very, very competitive. And so the more they hear from you, if you want to see any of these funded, they need support.
A testimony or something on it?
Yeah, so actually, you can submit a letter to, and the easy way to do it is SENS, it's like, SENS at capital.hawaii.gov. And capital with the O, yeah, CAPITOL. And then REPS, REPS at capital.hawaii.gov, Hawaii spelled out.
Yes.
And that's how you can send an email to all legislators. And you can say, yeah, I support Zion Puka, grant aid. I've had an experience with them, blah, 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 how great they work, they helped you, and I really hope that you'll fund them, when it comes time to choosing the grant aid. That kind of thing makes a huge difference for these nonprofits. So if you see anything on here, and I know that Joel Lapilio has an excellent one for a commercial kitchen and economic development to help our coast. So they need your support. They need you to tell the monies committees how much you support, how much you support them.
I'll get the information and then I'll...
Yeah, I'll repeat that. Okay, thank you so much. We gotta move on.
I just have a comment. that I think needs to be made, and that is this transit-oriented development, this entity, it's misleading, because as anyone here may have noticed, that every time we go into town, the state of Hawaii is thinking of a new national bird called the crane. You see him everywhere, okay? And what does that crane mean? Development run amok. And that's why transit-oriented development is misleading, because in actuality, it's development-oriented transit. That's just the point I needed to make. It's backwards. It's not about transit. It's about development and transit coming in on the tail end. And it's out of control. Every time you look around, there's another crane. It's going to be the national bird of the state of Hawaii. Because development for the past 20 years that I'm aware of has run amok. And the infrastructure is not there to support it. So, back from where I'm from, it's called bass-ackwards. And that's what we're left with. To pay for this kind of mismanagement, poor planning, where in reality, it's development with transit on the tail end. If we're going to do it right, then let's concentrate on transit, which is people-oriented, not development-oriented. That's all I need to say.
And if you want to support your grant but you don't, you can just always send me an email to my email's on here to say, please, Waianae, forward this to all the other senator legislators about how much I support this grant and need. And I can help you with that. I can do it. Okay, so forget that. All right. Thank you. You're welcome.
We're going to take like a minute to adjust. Councilwoman Pine is going to have a slideshow presentation here. So for those on this side, if you can't see, I'm going to move the podium over a little bit. But if you want to find a better seat, mate, please feel free to get up and just move right now while we get everything adjusted. Just give us like 30 seconds and we'll get started.
Well, 8:30 is this, and then 8:30 to 9 you can start. Would you let it hang? Oh, yeah. I mean, truly, 3:30 to 7. Almost back on it. Your parents, even come home too way later now.
Okay, is everybody in a good seat? All right. Again, thank you, Senator Shimokuro, and now I'd like to welcome Councilmember Kimberly Marcos Fine to talk about city issues and give you an update on a variety of different things that are happening out here in the Waianae District. Councilmember Fine.
Hello and good evening. I want to thank Senator Shimokuro. I'm so happy that she's here today. I really enjoyed working with her. She just loves the community so much, and we really create a very good partnership where when we get calls and it's a city issue, we know I take the lead, and when it's a state issue, we make sure that Miley takes the lead because things will happen a lot faster, and so I'm so appreciative that she's here today. I don't know if you folks all got this handout. There's so many things that we have to cover, so we put things in other handouts for you. This, of course, is our new adopted partner program. So if you or an organization is interested in getting involved, please do so with that pamphlet. And we have so many new capital improvement projects going on in the district that is happening, and so you want to get an update on a particular project, we have the information in this particular pamphlet for you. And that board also shows the various projects that are going on within the district. First of all, I'm just so honored and proud to represent this side of the island whenever my staff and I know that we're coming to the Waianae Coast, we're so excited. We really enjoy coming out here. We just love the people, and we truly believe that it's one of the most beautiful parts of our district. After I was elected 4 years ago, it seemed like the #1 issue that a lot of residents from the Waianae Coast said that they wanted to address dealt with their quality of life, the traffic, the fact that they had 3-4 generations living in one home, or that they have families that unfortunately are homeless and living paycheck to paycheck. They wanted me to especially look into more affordable housing for them, and especially somehow find a way where they can enjoy their families better. So they wanted me to focus on city issues that could help with that. So our primary, what we're doing, I guess I should look at that while we're doing that, is we're trying the best that we can. You can see by a lot of these projects that are going here, is to fund long-requested city improvements, to revitalize our parks and preserve our open spaces, supporting public safety and homeless solutions, expanding transportation options, and creating opportunities for cultural enrichment. What many of those on this side of the island have stressed to me is that we feel that with all the development going on, we're forgetting our coast culture and sacred places, and forgetting to recognize very important places, and so I'll talk about that later. So despite not having a bathroom at Hulu Community Park, which is just up the street here, for 10 years, we have finally funded a restroom, and we're going to be breaking ground hopefully in the next few months, and we'd love to invite all of you folks. It's going to start with a different type of bathroom. I'm sure you've heard in the news about all the bathrooms that are getting burnt and destroyed, some blown up completely. And so we're all being challenged to redesign all of our bathrooms. And so the bathrooms that we're going to have, it's not going to be so enclosed where a lot of illegal activities can happen. And so this is going to be one of there's going to be several parks around the state that are going to have these type of bathrooms. And unfortunately, some of the bathrooms that were blown up, we're going to have to change to that type of bathroom. But in addition to that, putting a bathroom here, I just met with the director of parks, and we want to start planning for the playground area right next to that area to all happen within the next 1 to 2 years. And this park is going to get the first splash park for kids on the island of Waianae. Don't tell anybody, I'm not supposed to say anything yet, it's supposed to be surprised. I can't help it, I'm so excited to have Waianae at the first of something, you know, and so it's going to be the model for a lot of different parks. Of course, some of you are here tonight. I love this picture. This is something that John DeSoto was working on for many years. And what's great about this new police station that we're going to be having a special ceremony, I think, very soon. We were just all visiting the police station to see what's going on. One of the resolutions that I did pass as requested by the Waianae residents is that we want more police officers. So you'll be getting 10 additional police officers, and you'll also be getting more leadership positions here. You're going to be having faster response times to a lot of your issues, as well as there's some rooms in there that you can possibly use for some community meetings. And so definitely, you'll start hearing the news when we're going to have a grand opening, and I encourage you to go visit them. One of the first issues that was from the Makaha residents, especially those that use Makaha Beach Park, they talked about the fact that the beach was eroding into the ocean, and that the road was a primary factor causing that problem. And so they talked about the realignment of the road there. And so I'm proud to say that just this last month, we funded a $500,000 study that would finally get this project going. And this is going to be a partnership through Miley and I, that once we have no idea how much it's going to cost. It could be something that the city can totally fund. It might be something we need a partnership with the state. But this was something that was not planned for until 2030, and it was one things I was able to do in my very first meeting on office to move that up. And so we're very excited about the future, and Buffalo is very excited. It's been talking to us for years about this. So the next thing we're doing is revitalizing our parks and open spaces. I don't know if you've seen our parks lately, but I am so proud of our park staff, but I'm even more proud of the Waianae people. I don't know if you've noticed that we painted every single comfort station along the coast. If we missed one, let me know so I can talk to the mayor right away. Litters being picked up, they're trying to remove graffiti as soon as it happens. We're refurbishing bathrooms. We're starting to plant more grass in some areas. Areas where parks that have been around for many years and demanding that they put better sprinkler systems or fix the sprinkler systems. We're going to be adding and repainting picnic tables and benches. Just a whole lot of things that we should have been doing a lot better for a lot longer. We're starting to do. This was one of our first adopted park projects, and I'm so glad Cedric Keats is here because he was the inspiration of it. The mayor and I have started a program that really elevates our adopted park program, where we help to combine private funding with city funding, along with working with volunteer groups that are going to be doing a lot of the projects. And Peter Donovan, the head of the laborers union, who was raised in Makaha and went to this park as a kid, helped to fund this project and lead this project. And as you can see, it just didn't look so good in the beginning. And these are all the kids and the people that helped to help us revitalize this park. And so we did a microguard on the bottom, so you can see that black gut that was there isn't there anymore, and so it's being a lot easier for park staff to clean and to get graffiti off. And so we're hoping to expand this type of microguarding through all of our parks eventually. And the goal is to have every park in our district adopted by some community groups so that we can hook them up with private funding. So as part of revitalizing our parks and preserving our open spaces, as well as preserving our cultural history, we help to lead the effort to rename Nanakuli Beach Park to Waianae Beach Park. This was one of the first things that the Nanakuli Neighborhood Board came to me about, and many homesteaders came to me. In the early 1900s, this is what it was requested by the Nanakuli homesteaders. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm allergic to one thing, and it's sulfur, which is fog. So I didn't have a pretty good open class. So they helped to, they passed numerous resolutions, and I guess this has been going on for about 5 or 6 years. And so this was something that we just did last Saturday. And so a lot of leaders from the homesteads were there, and it seemed like they changed it to Waianae Beach Park in the early 1900s as a request, and somehow went back to Nanakuli. And so the homesteaders as well as the neighborhood board requested that history be reinstated. So it's going to be a little confusing from now. You know, a lot of people are still going to call it Nanakuli Beach Park. But this was something that they really want to see, and the sign, we wanted to not just be a regular tin sign. We thought this was a significant thing to do for the homesteaders. And so all of this was donated by private donors within the area. I'm sure you remember when I first got elected, we had the dumping from Waianae Marina somehow come to Waianae. Thanks to Kapua. Can you stand up? Kapua did an amazing job fighting for our community. And she said, this is enough, we're tired of this. And because of the research that she gave us, we were able to pinpoint that one truck that fell over on the freeway was bringing illegal material from Waianae all the way to land in Waianae. And that really raised a lot of concerns. A lot more residents came forward and said, this has been happening for years, what are you going to do about it? And so we basically raised the fines by 1,000%. And this was not an easy bill. We passed 3 different bills that relate to different things related to illegal dumping. And There's a lot of opposition from farmers. There was a lot of opposition from the business community. And of course, many Native Hawaiian groups. We had the concerned elders of Waianae, and other organizations that were really demanding that something be done. And so it took us about a year of negotiations, and we finally found 3 pieces of legislation that would help us to accomplish the goal of ending illegal dumping. And I'm proud to say that it has dramatically reduced since we made it clear that we're not going to take it anymore, and that if you get caught, the city and the state is going to come after you. And so I continue to request that if you ever do see illegal dumping, please be a part of the solution and report it to the police so that we can take action on that. In terms of expanding transportation options, there's multiple things that we're doing, of course, within the rail, and Miley talked about all the other things that the city and state are working on. But one of the things I felt was unacceptable was when I would visit different neighborhoods on the Waianae coast, and I would see that some of the roads were just almost becoming a dirt road. It was so bad, and some of the potholes were so bad. And when I did some research and found that Waianae had the most potholes repaired, we discovered it's because some of the roads haven't been repaired for 30 years. And we found this absolutely unacceptable, and so I was so proud just that the other week the mayor came out and we kicked off our efforts to pave over 100 miles of roads on the Waianae side. So you're going to see a lot of action going on. Just be patient with us while we work on the roads. Another thing that is so sad to me is that here we're trying to get people to catch the buses more, but we're not providing enough buses for the Waianae coast as well as Kapolei and Eva Beach. And so we immediately added another bus in the morning for Route 93, the request of a lot of the residents. I had to meet with the mayor and a lot of different transportation experts saying this is unacceptable. People are getting passed by at like 4 in the morning, and that's just wrong. And so we added this 40-foot bus. We are looking into other solutions for other bus routes. There's several bus routes that residents want to go all the way up to the valley and then go on Keeley Drive. We're not allowed to use Keeley Drive. So we're trying to find another solution where we can get the double buses to go all the way into Makaha so we can make that turn. And we're starting to talk to private landowners to see if we can make a turn in that area. And hopefully by next month's neighborhood board, we'll have an update about the other buses that we're going to be adding to the Waianae coast. As Miley had mentioned, we are working together on adding more roads on the emergency access road. One of the resos that I passed in response to that mess up that we had 2 or 3 times in a row where no one had the key and we couldn't open the gates and no one even knew where the access roads were. Starting this month, the city will be, as required by this reso, be educating the residents about where all the access roads are. They are going to be having to send out mailers as well as put signs out where all the access roads are. And in addition, we put in $3 million in this budget right now to add to Miley's efforts when we finally figure out where the next roads are going to be so that we can combine the city and the state money. And we're trying to make some of the roads permanent. And in part of supporting public safety, Miley and I, we braved, what is that, 16 feet waves? I don't know what, it was very big. We almost died. I thought I was going to hang out with a bunch of lifeguards and put my foot in, the water. And of course, Brian Catalana takes us all out, and these waves are like as tall as the ceiling. And, but it was eye-opening. And they said, Tim, do you know that we only have one jet ski team for the Waianae coast, but other areas have them? And looking at the waves, I said, are you kidding me? And so I had to meet with the mayor about that, and it looks like we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. Oh, yeah. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the 2nd jet ski team. And so we're going to finalize the that a lot of residents, during the week, they don't necessarily go to the beach between 9 and 5 and lifeguards are there. They go surfing in the morning before work and they go surfing after. And so people are almost drowning, and some unfortunately have drowned during the before and after hours. And so it's the first that I heard of this, and so we introduced a resolution and it passed to extend lifeguard hours, and then we also put money in the budget to accomplish the extended hours. And so if you want to testify in favor, I put $3 million in the budget, and we're going to need your support till May to support that effort. And then finally, a lot of you folks made it very clear that you were tired of people bringing all the homeless from a walk into Waianae. And so we passed a very strong resolution saying that you need to look at homeless solutions where they are throughout the island. And so now every council member is coming up with a solution for their own area. And so in this budget cycle, we'll be adding different, you're going to start hearing about different homeless shelters in different districts. So no longer are we, although we love everyone, right? It's a point of love. And as we talked earlier, we don't have infrastructure for all this population coming in anyway. And so you're going to start seeing other solutions in other areas. And so I want to thank the Waianae Neighborhood Board especially. Everyone get it very clear to me that it's time for other areas to help as well. And then finally, I'm very proud of Bill 9 that we introduced, and Uncle Hanalei is going to be talking about one of the first efforts that we're going to be doing. And as I started, while the development has been good because some of our families now can afford homes, I feel that sometimes we can move so fast that we forget our history, and we forget why we all love this place so much and fell in love with it. And at the same time, while Hanalei was talking to us about how people don't understand the sacredness of various areas, members of the Kapolei Hawaiian Civic Club was talking about they have a really sacred hula mound that's at the top of Kapolei District Park, and it's very sacred, very special. It was the people of the whole area, and it is where the Hawaiians determined the days of the year and the seasons. And it's almost chicken skin. If you go on the top of this mound, to the left, if you take an arrow that goes from the left to the right, there you basically goes to Diamond Head area, and then it goes straight to the other mountain on the other side, which is the reverse of Diamond Head. If you sit at this particular place. And it's very sacred and special, and unfortunately people were training their dogs on the sacred hula mound. They were doing all kinds of things, and it's because there was no type of monument or anything that really explained the sacredness of the area. And so sometime, do we pick a date for that one yet, Kathy?
It's tentatively July 9th.
July 9th. Oh, yeah, that's when they're going to rededicate that area. And we'll do, it's going to be very beautiful, like you saw the Kaana and Beach Park sign, where it's going to be very sophisticated and really display the sacredness of the area, and have a plaque, a very nice plaque that talks about the history of the area. And there's just so many other things to talk about. You see our handouts, and I'll be glad to open it to questions for you folks. Ready? Yeah, cool.
Okay, so thank you for your Waianae project. Coming from Waianae Valley Homestead, where we have Kaupuni Neighborhood Park, if we could put that on your burner as well, because it's actually only phase 1, and it wasn't even the full phase 1 that was completed several years ago. So if you could convene those parties that had the plans that were changed, and bring the staff up to date so that we could get Kaupuni Neighborhood Park back on the burner. Appreciate that if we could add that.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a meeting with the director and the residents of the area so that we can go over the plan that was made, and then maybe we can go one by one which different part of the park.
That was from a post time. I'm not sure if John had started it. I was definitely keeping tabs with Garth, who was a post staffer at that time. So that's
No, thank you for, I'm glad you brought that to my attention, because no one has asked me to, we pretty much are responding to the requests of the community, and so we'll definitely make that in the next round.
Thank you so much for doing this and mine. I've been hearing this a lot from our kupunas, from Abolike. Our group, our organization is growing very big, and right now we're at the Nanakuli library on the first row. So they brought it to my attention about Kalani Anakuli Beach Park facility, you know, where the bathroom is, and then the rec, I think, connects. They wanted to know if the inside of the rec can open up a door to the bathroom. Because it's not safe for the kupunas to go outside and then into the bathroom. So I said, well, why not? I can probably bring it up to you and see what happens from there. But this is, otherwise, it's getting kind of tight. Our organization, Alumiki, these kupunas in Nanakuli are very active. And so they had put this question to me, and I said, all I can do is ask, to see if something like this can happen for them. This way, if we have permission to hold our Monday and Fridays in the recreational hall that they have there. Because I see they have Zumba, they have all this kind of stuff, but we're talking about kupunas. I want to be able to talk, take care of the kupunas. I've learned plenty from them. So they pick on me to do this. So that, you kind of look into that.
Can we also set up a meeting with maybe our staff and us, so you can help us visualize exactly what you're talking about?
Yeah.
We'll set that up.
Because I've been in the rec hall, and I don't know, it seems to me like, but I know it's going to take some kind of a planning and all this kind of stuff. So this way, people have access to the bathroom.
Let's meet soon, because we just added to our projects that we wanted to do soon to fix up the handicap bathroom over there.
Okay.
And so maybe while we're doing that, we can look at the inside.
That would be awesome. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Just past Stewart Beach Park, there's, I don't know what they call that part of the sort of undeveloped beach park area. And there's a kiawe tree that's literally almost hanging into Pokai Bay Street now. And so when you're driving down Pokai Bay Street, you end up swerving into the middle of the road because the branches are like coming over into the street.
Is that the one that burnt?
No. And there was a group of, I forget who it was DOT or something, there was a truck there, and I said, well, could you guys do something about that? And they said, no, that wasn't their plan, and we said, to tell you.
Yeah, we have a weird process where we have tree experts, and only the tree experts archivists.
Yeah, but it's weird because they did a nice job of trimming all the way down to the beach park from Pokai Bay beach to a leg. And then from there to the end of the street, nobody takes care of that area at all. And then the other thing is, they have those concrete barriers to try to keep the dirt bikes from going up on the sand dunes. And there's an area right at Glenmonger where I guess they moved the rocks, and so they're able to literally drive their trucks right up almost in front of where Riley's mom lives. Yeah, and I just thought if they could put a barrier there, it's on the Pokai Bay side of the Glenmonger Bridge, I guess I call it. It's open in that area.
Kathy's taking notes, and so follow her after.
Okay.
When is the parking lot?
Oh, actually, we're supposed to repave that one. on a second.
We're working on it.
Actually, that was a project that we just added through the Labor Force Benefits package. So it should be done sometime this year. But what I'll do is all these questions that we're having, if you left your email, we're going to try to respond to all the questions that everyone has. So I can give you the exact date. We have to sit down still with the mayor's office to plan this project. Yeah, they're doing it now, right? Yeah, they're doing it. But they're doing it in different sections, and I'll tell you why. Oh. But only part of it. Okay, so part of it is February 16th, and they're going to end April 16th. That's part of it. And then we're going to do the next half. We had to split it up so that it didn't have to go through this long procurement process. And so we split it up that way. It's under a certain amount, so they can do it faster.
It doesn't look like anything is done at all.
Really?
The whole parking structure, every parking area.
They didn't start digging it up at all? They didn't start digging it up at all? Okay, we'll have to check that out. You do have at the police station, you are free to park at the additional parking spaces on the other side. And there's no gate there, so you can park there as well. But we'll look into that, because the report that we got is that they had started, and I don't know what starting means, it could be just surveying it, but they're supposed to finish by next month. So we'll get back to them.
Getting back to Macau. Okay, it was a buffalo contest before the mayor came on. We're going to have a big plan. The next big question I have is, how long does it take from the plan to the actual first show?
It really depends.
Don't hold your breath.
It really depends, and that's why they have to survey the land first, because some people are claiming that certain areas are marsh land and it's sinkable. So that's why this first surveying, so the residents have already reported that they've started seeing people out there, some engineers and doing tests. So it's going to, once we get that back, we'll know exactly how long it will take. And it'll be determined about funding, so either Miley and I, depending on whatever the city or state, we're going to have to somehow get the funding for it.
And the next big question is, as you know, there's a swell going on right now. And I don't know if anybody's, you guys must have driven past Macau.
Yes.
You can see the water is now going behind the cement pilings.
Yeah.
And guess what's next? One lane goes down that highway.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you might want to muscle things up before the ocean takes over.
Well, I can tell you if the road is falling to the ocean, it speeds it up right away to redo the road.
If I may, because before Councilmember Klein was in, when I was on the city council, we talked about doing the rerouting.
We know that.
Because it was original. It was just like Waianae Bay. You know how Waianae Bay, you go up inside the river? What the problem is, and what the council member and what the senator and the representatives have a problem with, is that you have the higher level, the federal government. When the federal government came in to do the train track, the rail, they went right through. When the train was finished, they go, okay, state, take it. And the state is going, well, we don't want it. But they haven't, because it was given to them as the federal government to do that. Now the city is trying to work, you know, it was trying to do the rerouting of the road, it was trying to work. And that's what's the hard part, is because the city is trying to get it, you know, to get back to where it was, but it's going to cost an arm and a leg. And the federal government is just saying no. And the state, that's why they did the Save Makaha, in the bridge, you know, to get that. Because originally, the road used to go up by Keeley. And there wasn't Keeley Drive anyway before. Keeley Drive was done illegally, but it was a private land at the time. And that's what it came. So when it came down, and Laverne would know, because what happened is they came down with Keeley, they diverted the swell, the flood from Makaha Valley that went into the ocean and into the marsh area that was natural. But they made a barrier, but Keeley Drive was a barrier, and that diverted the water to go towards the cross mines. See, that's what happens, and then government, hands are tied. They can't do anything, especially from the city and the state level. Because the federal government came in with the train tractor and boom, they also want to go ahead and do that. So yes, trying to get them to do this and go back to the original, that's what the council member and that's what the senator then is trying to work on, trying to make it. Because yes, the erosion, before the erosion, it was a natural, the swell came in, the waves at Makaha Beach, went all the way inside the marsh area, and the road used to go up, above, way above, and came out by where the canoe, where canoe was. Absolutely, that's the original, and that's what they're working on. That's what the council member and the senator, that's what they're working on now, trying to get it back on that. And it's a health and safety concern. Because when you get, we just had the rail surf meet last week too. And the Keikis, they had to have all the kids, all the people, volunteers, blocking by the rocks, by the piles, so when the kids did fall off of the surf blocks, they would have to catch them before they went into the rock. We tried to get the state and try to get the city, try to get the sand from Nanakuli side when they was doing it, you know, by the old courthouse, take the sand from there and dump it over there. It was hard, you know, and that's
nevertheless, as you can see about some things that Matt and I are talking about, we're just pushing and pushing and pushing, and that's what we need to do.
Yes.
And with your folks' support, I feel very confident. We weren't supposed to get this money in the budget before. And the State Department of Transportation director was really mad at me for doing it because it wasn't what they call a priority. But when erosion falls into the ocean, we have erosion in the entire area. To me, that's a priority. So, but I know we need to wrap this up. I will be standing behind the all analysts to be able to do this. Oh, Albert.
I just want to.
I wrote on your land the other day, by the way.
Say again.
I wanted horses on your land, apparently. I thought it was your land.
But what I wanted to complain about is my hearing isn't as good. For some odd reason, this, you know, what John started to explain about the original road going around Mountain. Well, in 1934, that was the route we took to go to Mount Cool.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you.
And Councilman, former Councilman John D. Solo,
retarded.
made it clear, and I don't hear it loud and clear, but the reason that I like to repeat one and say that I wanted to make a comment, you know, thank him for knowing about that because of my hearing. I'm sorry.
I'll just take two more questions. We gotta get to Uncle Honolulu. Yes. And then Sharon will get you there. Where's it?
First of all, I just want to thank you for the work that you folks are doing with me and able to adopt the gym so we can get back upstairs.
Oh, by the way, we're repairing the second floor of the Waianae District Gym.
Yes.
It's going to be going on very soon, and Joanne has partnered with us to repair that. So you guys can have meetings up there. And thank you, Joanne.
Second question was about the park up here.
Yes, school.
Yes, that's my park. I do that fence right there. I live on that fence. I open the gate and that's my park. That's our park. That's my backyard. So I was just wondering, is there a plan or anything they could draw out where the playground, where
Yeah, we can get that to you.
Okay, just for, you know, and another question is lights at the basketball court. So every basketball court from Nanakuli to Makaha have lights at the park until 10 o'clock. We have no lights at the park. So there's people, kids outside playing. No, we're going to do it now.
My next was on the plan, the city plan, 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from Ed, the manager and stuff up there, that the original plan, whoever was the property manager up there at Sea Country said, no, we didn't want to have lights, but that's up there now, a bunch of community.
We'll look into that. See if the residents told us to no longer.
Kind of deter people from coming and hanging out on the side of the road in the dark.
That's good you do that, but that was one unilateral agreement.
Not the lights?
Good lights.
Oh, yeah.
There was the obligation to do that. They did not abide by the unilateral.
The court was 11 acres.
Yes.
And 20 years ago,
for what she's talking about. What you started to do, that was where the plan, county's plan, bringing something used.
That's just unacceptable.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll speed things up. I have hopefully 5 years more.
Please, also at night, I think we should have the sprinklers system on, because it will also deter a lot of people from hanging out in the park. I do have pit bulls in my backyard, and my boy, he hears everything that goes on in the park. So if I hear my dog, you know, then I know somebody's out in the park. And my husband was actually caught, you know, like 1 o'clock in the morning, some girl screaming, help, 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 and some boy at the cops came, and we've been having a lot of action going on there. And then also real quick about that illegal dumping, we've had some tires dumped right on the corner of Waianae Street and Paquette, they're on the sidewalk. Yeah, not Paquette. Where is the other street when you go all the way up to the store?
Okay.
You go all the way up to the stop sign and you make the left to go by the park. See, Waianae Street, right there, there's somebody dumped a big pile of tires. And it was 2 weeks ago, but it's on the.
They're still there right now?
They're still there, and I know that Andrea was trying to say, trying to find somewhere to dump them, or somebody that would take the tires, because a lot of places.
Okay, so she's taking the lead on that one?
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago already.
Okay. So we'll call her and see what assistance she needs on that.
TFM.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're kind of on the sidewalk.
Karen?
Thank you for taking my question, finally. But
I'm sorry.
Thank you for taking me through. My question is, you had that job fair with the Four Seasons.
Oh.
Is there any way you can get us numbers as to how many of our people were hired?
Oh, yes, I made that request already.
Yeah, if I would be more than happy to see how many of our people along the coastline were actually hired for that hotel. Thank you.
No, that's a fabulous question. The Four Seasons manager, Sanjay, he said he wants to have another one just in Waianae alone. He has fallen in love with all the coast. And so that's in the works. We do have another job fair in June. The DeBarge Road Shopping Center is opening. So they're hiring, I think, about 800 to 1,000 people, as well as we're going to have 75 other vendors of new businesses that have opened up in the area. So stay tuned for that. I'll hang out for other questions, but I do want to get something on there. Thank you all so much for coming.
And just as a reminder, the council member, she has a new car. She's in the parking lot. She has to get back to the beach because it's dark. What kind of broom was it?
Thank you, Councilman Pine. And again, for those of you that have questions that we weren't able to get to yet this evening, please fill out one of the comment cards, or I can also make sure that you have one of the cards for our office so that you can continue to contact us with any questions or concerns. So right now, what we want to do, as Councilmember mentioned in her talk, is that one of recognizing and being able to restore and learn about our cultural sites on the coast. I wanted to make sure that we invited Waianae here to talk about some of the initiatives that are happening that we are planning to take on for the Waianae Coast. So Waianae.
Thank you, Kathy, for a wonderful introduction. And mahalo, Kimberly, Councilman Kimberly Pine and Waianae for putting this meeting together, bringing all our people, concerned people, leaders from the Waianae community together to work on our, community issues. I was asked to talk about some of the projects I'm working on. As a Puniiki and a lifetime resident for Waianae Moku and cultural practitioner, just wanted to share some of my points of views. There's several heiaus out here on the west coast. Two of them have been really well preserved. One is Kaniaki up in McLeod Valley, which is on private property. So that's pretty much well taken care of. But my concern was the Tuliulua Heiau on Impokai Bay, which is a part of a public park. And I've noticed over the years that there's a lot of, disturbance. You could call it disturbances or graffiti. Over the years, people have been, I guess, having memorials, putting memorials over there, and a lot of people don't realize that there are laws that actually there's a buffering zone, like 30, 50 meter buffering zone around cultural and historical sites. So I don't know how many of the people feel about that, but I felt there was a need to protect the Kuili Hill because over the years, homeless people have been camping over there, knocking on the rocks, and families been playing and taking care of different organizations over there working and trying to keep the hill intact. And so I came to the conclusion that we need some kind of sign. We need to educate people about this historical site. There's only two on the west side, and I feel that we need to protect some things like that for our future, for our present and future generations. So I came up with a verbiage, the signage for educating people, naming the AL, as well as its use, its purpose, and also what is prohibited. And so it'll also give the place protection, so we don't have to worry about any more disturbances. Give the place the respect that is actually required, because it's part of our Waianae history, part of Hawaiian history, and part of our sacred sites of Waianae. So I actually took liberties of creating a map. Went over there over the holidays and actually drew up a map of the place and made a list of these people that has making these memorials. But I didn't only come up with the idea of removing these memorials, but also maybe nowadays, because kupuna, we used to deal with our kupuna in different ways, burial, we either put trees or pohaku to kind of mark burial places, or bury in a backyard like Rest Camp and ibi kupuna over there. So actually, so working on trying to protect this place. So created the verbiage as well, part of the master plan for Waianae, because we had the Makaha, Ulule, and Pokai master plan. So I was looking at that, restoring the hill and also putting in proper light so that in the future we don't have any more desecrations. And also trying to clean up Pokai Bay because there's some issues on the environment as far as the water being dirty, stuff like that. Over the years there's staph bacteria. And so trying to work with city legislators and Army Corps of Engineers and dealing with I'm also part of our Ahamuku Advisory Committee, which we partner with the DNR. So trying to address our environmental and cultural issues at the same time. Because I just recently had a meeting with the military. There's an environmental issue, and actually both issues, Pokai Bay and the Waianae Rest Camp issue, are both interconnected, interrelated. What was happening, the sand is moving from Waianae Rest Camp, Herbert Kuliao Rec Center, is moving all over to Pokai Bay, and the water is not allowed to move. So I introduced an idea with Councilwoman Pine about how we can maybe resolve that problem, which is remove the pohaku that is already destroyed part of the wall, and remove it and put like huge storm drain pipes below the surface of the water, perhaps have a polymer grill so that people don't go inside and the kids, whatever, get inside and get stuck and drown. And then put the rocks back and all that, which actually would allow current to move back inside. And as a lot of us Waianae residents know, the sand moves as seasonal in Makala Surfing Beach, like the sand moves from one end of the beach to the other. So by having this repair work done, it will allow the current to move back, keep the wave outside so we still have a safe haven. But also it will allow the current to move back and the sand to move back and forth, which actually nature done. So part of a cultural practitioner, we notice nature and try to work with nature. And also looking at part of the whole master plan is also working on sustainability, working on homeless, because the Waianae coast shoreline is pretty much all connected. So also working at the boat harbor on sustainability, and part of the sustainability plan is bringing back the kapu system, which we have to honor. All of us would have to be part of that to help replenish our fishing stock. So it's all part of sustainability for our future, restore our fish pond. And I'm glad Uncle John and also you mentioned about the fish pond in Makaha, actually, and Uncle, which former Kunaiki, Uncle Albert Silva, he actually actually fished in the pond in his younger days, and so as part of our sustainable is bringing back the fish pond. And so a lot of people, I guess, aren't aware of a lot of our old history. And Uncle, it's all resource. I talked to Uncle from former Puniki and also present Puniki, so it's a family thing. But we've been working and pretty much taking care of Ibi Kupuna and cultural issues along the coastline. So also part of the sustainability, we've been planting limu at the harbor, and also try to get rid of invasive fishes. We'll be actually coming up with the idea of having a fishing tournament and bringing back back in the day we had the ahi fiba, which was mostly for dads, party, go on Sacramento, and come back with something cool. And the mom and dads, mom and the KK stay home and tailgating and stuff like that. So we got together with some other community leaders and cultural practitioners from Waianae and working together on a positive note to bring back this sustainability, whatever people are bringing different things to the table. So we actually want to try to get rid of invasive fish, train scuba tank divers to set traps and catch traps and release our natural fish, measure them and stuff like that, so we can also create census and a database for our fish, so we can pretty much monitor our fish stocks and how we progress or not. So kind of working on things like that, and having these people certified so they can check the traps and stuff like that, and Tahape, whatever basic fish that are destroying our reefs, and then we got to get rid of those guys. So we came up with a fishing tournament where you get the dads and moms and the KKs, they all can go fishing. We just go back to old school bamboo poles and maybe do a whole weekend of that at the harbor. And we had fun, so family thing. So everybody's kind of bringing different things to the table. Also working with Mana Maoli, another group. They work with children like that, working with the kids that are musically inclined, or want to be musically inclined. And so we kind of introducing the kids to different aspects of, I guess, being professional when they grow up to be musicians, things like that, so they know that there's something out there for them. We're videotaping since we live in the 21st century, so we got to try to pretty much keep up with the times. And I think it's a really good thing, for working with the kids in the community. We're still in the planning stages, so a lot of people are coming forward, coming up with ideas, work with the high school, stuff like that. And eventually, what we want to do is connect Mama to Makaya. So we started off at the harbor. During the holidays, myself and a group of others, concerned citizens, went into the harbor, Puhunua of Waianae, fishing village, and created a mala, which is a raised bed garden. So they're planting taro, bananas, and woos, sweet potatoes like that. Just humble beginnings. So we're also looking at addressing fish and stuff. And like I said, we're going to work out Makai, so actually we have to try work with the water supply. I talked to Aaron Eagles, who's really working with Mamako in the Luli, Maka Valley, and Maka Alafarn. So we're going to work together as cultural practitioners to try to open up the water again from Maka to Makai, because it's so important. It's part of our sustainability, because back in the days, actually still low, the anai, the mullet swims around the island and feeds pretty much everybody. Everybody gets a chance to fish in that water fish. And then the fish actually comes back to Waianae Valley. And back in the days, actually the fish, the mullet used to go up to Ibiluka, go up in Waianae Valley. So it's important to reestablish the nursery. And also both like the Opu, also like nursery Makai side. So kind of interesting. And I don't know if you guys know about the Opu. It's a pretty interesting fish. Somewhat like a salmon, kind of goes down, have a nursery on the Makai side and swims upstream, and it lives upstream. And this fish actually can climb up the waterfall, it climbs up the rocks. Very much like a prehistoric fish that actually walk on land. So this Opu would actually climb up the cliff, fighting the water and everything. That's how strong nature is. And so I'd like to re-establish that, because it'll bring back the balance of the ecosystem, as well as put more food on the table for future generations. So it's just some of the things we're looking at, and more people coming on board with more ideas, and I'm really ecstatic to be working with everybody, other community leaders, and everybody's welcome to come on board and participate, because it's a couple of things. It's for everybody, and like I said, bringing back the couple system is very important, because we have to let the fish, or whatever, lobsters, whatever, spawn and do the things. So the main part of the thing is educating our people and all people about the couple system. So we have to bring that back. And there's actually two laws. One was Bill 288 that actually empowers Hawaiian to bring back the community system, which is the couple system. And very important to bring back the balance because we know nowadays massive no come and the cost of living is bad. So it's another way of dealing with homeless issues, so we can actually provide ourselves. So that's why we need to harvest teaching and planting. And we also created the Halimua, which is an entity in Hawaiian mua, which is a house of men. And working with Upio, also working with adults, Makua, to educate them how to be better men and be better dads and get more involved in the community and work with their kids and work in the schools and stuff like that to get more involved. And to be more supportive of the family and our communities and all work together like that to work towards a better future for our community.
Being a cultural practitioner, have you revisited at the harbor, which is our homeless upstate? There used to be 9 freshwater holes in there, and lobster kind of stuff. The last time I went there was in the late 90s. I only found 7.
Yeah, that's what I thought about goal too, is actually to preserve the Opai Wula over there, and also the, I guess what they call sinkholes, or the alkaline ponds. Yeah, that's part of the thing, and also there's an iwi kupuna. A lot of people don't know that, but so to me it's worth protecting, and it really can be used for development, anything else, because I know there's some talk in the community, but maybe leveling the place and developing, but we all know you cannot build on sinkholes. I mean, of course it's built on rock. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to build the sinkholes, but I see it as a place, maybe a stepping stone, over there to also maybe address homeless issues. But actually, we're partnering in our planning, still to getting all the materials all for free. Build a traditional halau, traditional hale. I got the permission, blessings from Master Builders, Francis Silenzi from Maui, and we worked together years ago at the Restored Halau. So I have a network of friends and cause like that, warriors that we all get trained to restore our heiaus, our ahus, and also build traditional holidays. And so we'll be actually in the heart of Puhunua with the halau that we'll be teaching the Molero, different cultural practices. And I'll be there also to teach making part of the sustainability, making stone point bombers from using whatever grinders or stone on stone, whatever you want to do. I know different, teach different applications. So we'll be teaching making on their own pop-up, Kawakuiai, amongst other things, so a lot of them be learning Hawaiian language and learning more Hawaiian values and Hawaiian philosophies. Because that's what will keep us all together as a community, especially with the couple system, is addressing the Hawaiian values and philosophy. It's so important. So the couple system is part of the Hawaiian philosophy. So the more we all get behind that stuff like that, we can make it happen for our community and for our future generation. Working on projects too, like part of the thing is establishing houses, what we call hales, for the fish, stuff like that. So we bring back like the old style of fishing. Like I know back in the days we had the Opelu project at Waianae, which is kind of dormant now, so we can kind of activate. But I think now is the time, to make some moves and really puhonua and bringing back what we get the Kaulua with the Eala project with Waianae Civic Club and Kaina and Kamu Kapoi, awesome gentlemen, working hard too with the community. So we actually networking, all of us guys, so make it all great because we all watermen and care about the environment, our ocean. And so we have a lot of plans and bringing other people in, the ocean safety, and people come and teach how to plan this kind of different cultural things. So we all share. So I connected with other communities throughout the island like that. As part of the Keole, where the different practitioners get together. Together we're strong, with numbers. So got a big job ahead, but it's all worth it, you know, to me it's all worth it, you know, serve Kiapua and serve all you guys, you know, and, you know, so it's all good.